as we go through the rest of this week, Mike, that, I mean, it seems like it's going to get colder than
It does,
where we're
yes.
already at. What are we looking at?
So this morning, our low temps are basically where we are right now, 15, 16. Tomorrow morning, they could drop into the upper single digits to low teens. And we're sub-freezing for days, for like a week plus straight. It looks like even to next Monday, we're still looking at temperatures below 32 degrees. So sub-freezing. And, humans, we're just not meant to be outside in that sort of weather for an extended period of time, or really, at all, but especially when you've got temps dropping down into the teens. And then we haven't even taken into consideration the wind chill factors, because it makes it feel even colder to the body when you have wind and temperatures as such. But it's cold Arctic air. I mean, at least it's a dry sky, so we don't have snow or sleet or ice. But with temps like this, okay, so we came up to 17 degrees now, but still well below freezing Central Park, and that's not considering that there's wind out there as well. Winds, they're actually coming in from the southwest today at around 10, 20 miles per hour, and that makes a big difference in terms of what it feels like outside. So wind chill factors are down into the single digits is what we're doing.
It looked like, I mean, the wind, some of those, are those gusting winds, or is that sustained
Those are
winds?
sustained winds.
Okay, so
as
that
a
was like
matter of fact.
19 miles per hour in the
Right.
city. That seems, it's higher than, in Jersey.
Than a typical day. Typically, you'd see winds maybe around 5, 10, maybe 15. You start getting up to 20, and it makes a big difference out there. And that's why they have the wind
goes
chill
right through your clothes.
through your body, and you just, and so that's why for your folks that are outside exposed, a lot of times I'm sure the folks that are out there, they have mental health issues out there, and sometimes they're not even aware of what their body is doing and how it's reacting, and that they're literally freezing to death. So that's why I'm sure the mayor and other social workers and so on are out there doing the best they can to get folks off the streets.
So here we have
and there it is.
7-day.
Even now, the extended forecast is going into Tuesday, and even then, you're still 32 degrees. That's your warmest day out there. So we're in that deep freeze even into next week. Maybe by midweek, we're hopefully coming out of it. And not to mention that there's the potential of a coastal storm this weekend, which we've been talking about for a while, even though all the ingredients, the elements haven't come together. We haven't had proof that this looks likely. But yesterday, the National Weather Service didn't even have a chance of a snow for the weekend officially, but as of today, they put about a 30 to 40% chance of snow for us here in the tri-state again. So that means that chances are increasing as we get closer to game time.
We talked about that storm yesterday.
Yes.
And you said there were kind of two different models that you were looking at. So we're talking about the potential of a storm Saturday to Sunday.
Right.
And there was one model, which was the American model, which kind of showed it a little bit off the coast. Then there was the European model, and you showed that one to me, and that was terrifying.
That one was terrible. It looked like 20 to 26 inches, I believe, of snow.
But let's bring it back. What's it look like today?
Today, it actually took it. They both are a little bit more offshore.
Okay.
So that means it's trending offshore, which means, you know what, we may see some snow out in South Jersey. The area of low pressure you see dropping along that trough there, that's the storm center. It hasn't even come from the Pacific waters yet. It needs to do so. Then it's forecast to come to the Atlantic coastline, and that's when it would become our coastal low.
I thought
so
these
it's
things
just now coming together.
I thought these things come up that's not, it comes all the way from the West Coast.
The initial energy, what kind of gets everything going, comes from the West Coast, gets on a trough, and rides all the way down, then to the Gulf of Mexico, and then that's what initiates the coastal storm.
Is that sometimes how it happens?
Quite frequently, yes. That's actually what happened with the last one as well. It came off the West Coast, the energy, and all the way to us. So these are things, and the thing is, you can't really get good sampling tests in the atmosphere to figure out what the tendencies will be as it progresses across the country until it gets to land. So it's just coming in off of the Pacific waters. So that's why, the forecast out there, you have to kind of take them with a grain of salt until we get closer to game time and something actually comes on shore off the West Coast. So that's why it gets so complicated and takes so long to get your forecast together. And to go beyond a 7-day forecast, you're
much.
Really taking a guess.
So Tuesday, here we are on Tuesday. This is the potential for Saturday or Sunday. So what you're saying is it looks better than it did yesterday, but it's still too early to kind of write your plans in pen over the weekend, right?
Exactly. You start so you can get a little bit closer to pen, but even so, sometimes those forecasts adjust at the last minute. But yes, by tomorrow, we should have a much better idea of what's coming in, because at that point, then the National Weather Service and everyone's had a chance to get in there. And and do these sample
I see.
readings
I see.
and measurements on what's going in and coming to us here. So, and then they input it into these supermodels that kick out the forecast. The American and the European forecast models will go to work and come up with it's basically a best guess when it comes down to it, but that's all we got. There are quite a few models, but those are the main ones that we watch. But there it is. That's the area of low pressure, which we've been watching. This one right here is called the Barron forecast model. It's kind of a blend of the two. And it's still saying, you know what, this is still something to watch.
Okay.
Which is what we expect. That's something, though, for right now.
Yeah.
Look at those low single digits. And again, that's not considering the wind chill factor, which will make us feel like anywhere from 0 to about 15 below around the tri-state region tomorrow morning.
I was thinking, I used to have a colleague who worked up in Minnesota, and there they had to put like an extra battery or something on their cars to make sure the cars could start every day. You know what I mean? It was like one of
battery for the battery.
A battery for the battery. It was some kind of I forget. I apologize to any Minneapolis viewers out there right now, but that was something I was thinking about that this morning. Like, God, this is one of those things where the longer this goes, you can't let your car get low on gas.
Yes.
You don't want you got to make sure you're watching these things.
And is there something about electric cars? Electric cars, they struggle in these situations.
That's what you always hear.
Yeah.
And I have a hybrid.
Okay.
So it's a little bit of both. And I always find that I don't have a scientific proof of this other than that I Googled it and Google agrees with me.
Okay.
But my gas mileage always gets so much worse in the winter.
Oh,
like I go from like 40, 45 miles per gallon in the summer.
It drops to...
And now I'm at like 36. And I almost positive that has
And I know this man watches his mileage.
I do.
He's a family guy. That's what you guys do.
All right, let's Mike, let's take
What
a
do you
look.
got?
I don't know. You know what? We're going to
take a spin over here.
Yeah, we're going to go over here on these cameras.
Take a look at
here.
some camera shots.
Is that okay? Is that okay with you?
No, I like camera shots. You know what? Because I'm actually really curious about some camera shots in specific because it's been so cold. And
where do you want to go?
Camera shots. Anything that you can see the river, like the Hudson River.
Okay.
I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know what kind of options you have, but I like to look at the rivers this time of the year because it's been so cold that the rivers are starting to ice up and freeze over on us. And we haven't seen a winter like that in a long time.
This is the Henry Hudson Parkway.
You found the Henry Hudson Parkway.
Yeah.
It still looks icy.
No,
but
I don't know if
that's a river on the side of the Henry Hudson Parkway.
No.
But like is there? I don't know if there's anything like the Hudson River or the East River.
These are all Henry Hudson. These are all up and down.
Camera shots.
They're just the traffic cameras. I think if we go to let's go to Skyfox. You see Skyfox?
I see that Skyfox actually.
EXC3.
That's got some. Oh yeah, you can see the ice on the rivers there, because there it is.
Yeah, this is the Brooklyn Bridge.
And
okay, so that's like the bottom corner, right?
Yes.
Look at that.
And you can see, so that gray matter that you see there,
right?
That is ice that's developing, and that's why the ferry services get disrupted. Inez was talking about that earlier this morning, and it's building out there. Now, there have been years where that ice goes basically all the way across the river. There might be a little sliver in the middle that you can still get some boat traffic through or whatever, some freight traffic through, but it's happening. And since our temperatures are going to be sub-freezing until next week, you can imagine how that thing pretty much will want to solidify as we, get deeper and deeper into the week. So it's I remember going out there and thinking, gosh, there's so much ice out there. It almost looks like I could just kind of like lily pad walk across.
Don't do it, Mike. Don't do it.
We're not telling anybody to do that. And I'm quite certain no one will. But it looks kind of tempting. It makes up for some really cool looking shots out there for Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, whatever it is.
Don't always get this Skyfox view. Tyler, we could just jump to maybe the other more generic camera that has the temperature on it.
Yeah.
That looks like okay. So this is kind of
even
more of
that.
a regular shot. Yeah. I mean, you can see it in the distance.
And in Battery Park, which is where you're pointing here now, Dan, in Battery Park, there's a bunch of ice. So they had to. I don't know if it's disrupted or stop the ferry service, but something's going on. I remember hearing Inez talk about that. By the way, it happens in the East River as well.
Right.
But that water moves a little more readily. So just letting you know, we could have disruptions. Now, out in the New York Harbor, it's much broader.
Right.
There will be ice chunks out there, but it's not going to shut the whole thing down.
Do you have a can you gauge the temperature in the water? I know sometimes with the ocean water you have those temps.
We have those measurements. I don't know what it is very specifically, but I'm quite certain it's probably around 34 or 5 degrees.
It's below freezing, right?
Yeah, it's close to freezing, very close to freezing, but there's freezing at the point where on top, you do have the frozen water, but depends on what the depth is. Right. Exactly. Okay. And we've got that. And
we could see something by this weekend, and I don't want to put it too far ahead, but by the time we get to Thursday or Friday, some of those like little lakes, those little ponds that freeze over, and then they put it up and like you can go ice skating on them. Not yet, but sometimes they do that.
They allow that?
Yeah, they do that out in.
I'm afraid of those things. I mean, I always want to because I think it would be pretty cool to be out there and walk across a lake, but they're always warning you, and we always have accidents.
I'm gonna get some video of that when it's safe.
When it's safe. I don't know who goes out there and tests that. I don't want that to be my job.
Public Works. Public Works.
Okay, Public Works.
Public Works.
Okay, well,
it's brave men and women out there cleaning our streets for us as well with the sanitation service. All right, Mike, we good?
Yeah,
good? Everybody's
I think we got it. Yep. Got to make our way through this little defrost, this thaw process.
Cold snap for sure. 10:26. It is Tuesday morning. We are. It doesn't feel like a Tuesday. It feels like I guess it does feel like a Tuesday. It feels like we've been at work forever because
I have.
You were here on Sunday. You were here late. But we appreciate your work, Mike.